In the early 1930s in Chicago, there was a man by the name of James Webb who had a very peculiar habit, a very strange behavior. And that was he would faint, and he would faint quite often. Deliberately, mind you. It wasn't something that he was stricken with. It was something that he did because he was a con man. And he would do this about anywhere and everywhere where there were a lot of people that could see him when he did it. And when he would faint, good hearted bystanders, passersby, would come to his rescue. And to help him, they would give him money. Now, I can't see something like this being pulled off these days. It was a different time. It was the early 1930s. And that's what people did. That's all they knew how to do. And so he eventually got busted. He got arrested. He went to court. And he told the judge, I made a pretty good living fainting. I would faint up to 12 times a day. And the judge decided to fine him $200. Now, I don't know what that equates to in 2019, but I'm sure it was a lot of money for them back then. And when he was fined $200, when the gavel was swung down, what do you think James Webb did? He fainted. That's right, he fainted. And I don't know whether it was a real faint or if it was another con, if it was another part of his game he was playing. But nevertheless, that's what he did. But it's what you could expect out of James Webb. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because there's something to learn from this. At least I hope you can. There's a lot of different angles I could take with this. But here's where I've decided to go with it today. And that is, there are a lot of people out there who have a behavioral pattern, a habit that they have. Well, let's stick to behavioral pattern. It's a habit because they have repeated the matter over and over and over again. And this learned behavior therefore becomes a habit. You can do something so many times, you can perform a physical movement so many times, and it'll become muscle memory. Likewise, you can think in a certain way and talk in a certain way, and it'll become a memory, a reflex for you in another way. So, but that's what we see in people that we know. They may exhibit toxic, maladaptive, dysfunctional behaviors. Perhaps is not so dramatic, but you're concerned. It might be your children, it might be your spouse, it might be your best friend, it might be your coworkers. But you see a behavioral pattern in somebody, and you say something about it, and you want to help them. You want to help them because you care about them. You might even say that you love them, but at the very least, you care about them. You might just be a good person, a good-hearted person like these people that were walking by James Webb, and you just want to help. But James Webb didn't change, and neither do a lot of the people that you know, the ones that you are really just concerned about. They don't want to change. And I don't want to imply that the people that we're talking about in your life are necessarily con men. They may not be, probably not. But nevertheless, it's still learned behavior that becomes a habit. And what happens is they always trigger this reflex. Wherever they go, whatever they do, and they never seem to change. Now, it's basically an old adage at this point that, you hear people say all the time, you can't change people, they have to want to change. And I don't really want to say exactly those words, but this kind of fits along those lines. But I know that you already know that. But understand more than that is that it's understand what it does to you. When you are not grasping this, when you are not embracing the idea that people are not going to change for you, they're only going to change when they want to change, then what will occur is you will continue to frustrate yourself to death. And then you develop a pattern of behavior. You develop muscle memory. Not maybe literal muscle memory, but you know what I mean. A reflex, a default response. And then you're no better off than the person you're trying to help. When you become frustrated, when you become addicted to frustration, do not become addicted to frustration. I have more, way more I want to say about that. I actually have another video I want to make completely separate from that about becoming addicted to frustration. But mind you, that the people in your life are much like that. They're not going to change. Stop frustrating yourself. Get a grasp on this, because if you don't, you're just spinning your wheels in the sand. And you know, you really think to yourself, well, if this person would just have an epiphany. Well, epiphanies are usually come at great loss. They usually come in the form of a great loss to the people that we're concerned about. And oftentimes that does work for some people. For some people who are not pathological. For people who don't have a psychopathy, that might actually work. An epiphany would. But sometimes it doesn't. And those are the ones, if you pay attention, those are the ones you really have to look out for. The ones who, even when they experience a consequence that is dire, they don't learn. Those are the ones you really need to be cautious with. So you have to be paying attention. And it's important when we're talking about consequences. It's also, let me add to all this, that it is important to let people go sometimes and let them experience the consequence of their decisions. It's absolutely important. All right, guys, that was just my thought for today. I wanted to share it with you. I hope that it meant something to you. Hope you liked it. And I would encourage you, if you know anybody that needs to hear this, to share it with them. If you haven't liked it yet, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. All right, guys. You have a great day. Catch you later. Bye-bye.